And I'm back. Did you miss me? I missed this. Long Christmas break. Too long, if we're honest. Way too long. I didn't even spend most of it playing the Path of Exile events. And then there's a new league in like a week. When am I going to fit in Disco Elysium? But a lack of time. Oh, right, yeah, we'd gotten screwed over on the signatures thing. Unless we find someone to sign the document instead. That's a win-win if that works, right? Unless, of course, it doesn't matter. There was probably some other thing that I was doing, which is why I'm back over here in the plaza. Report back to Joyce? Yeah. A lot of different options. None of them are stunningly good. Let's talk to Joyce. We've investigated the drugs for you, only Kim thought we should not tell her everything. But what are we going to tell her instead? I'm basically established at this point as being absolutely garbage at lying.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
I spoke with the lorryman at the roundabout. Yes, my eyes on the harbour have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? Wait, where exactly are those eyes located? It doesn't really matter. Why do they get to have, like, agents everywhere watching us? Can they just see the game flags? Maybe they can. Maybe if I'd leveled up, like, perception enough, I'd be able to see them as well. It doesn't seem quite like that kind of game, but it's the kind of game that's similar to that kind of game. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. And I do apologise for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this. Speaking of blind, we're not allowed to call this a blind playthrough anymore. Thanks, Twitch. I'm sure everyone feels very happy about this. In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume what you discovered there is an operation. Roll. Empathy. Success. Yeah, I'm probably not going to fail an empathy roll like that. She's trying to conceal her excitement, but the slight glimmer in her green eyes tells you otherwise. The lieutenant is about to interject. Cut him off. This decision should be yours. Yes, I should decide. Exactly, but how? Hold on, you seem anxious to know. Why is that? I've kept my eye on the camioners, even tried to get to know one. It's a mystery I'm already invested in. Which one of them, if any, could organise such a complex operation? There will be an investigation, that's all I can say. Okay, I thank you for sharing that much with me. She exhales as though a weight's been lifted from her shoulders. My employer thanks you as well. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we have a bloodbath on our hands. The words bloodbath sound cold in her mouth. They taste of iron and strawberries. What was that about a bloodbath? Yes, I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Ravishal West. Since you're sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario. Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I've already heard about a connection between the lynching and the strike, but I need your testimony. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. A momentary lapse of faith? And they were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer. Every worker. A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric or a joke. They did not appreciate the humour. Do you need a security detail? Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They're meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering. Who are they exactly? I'm not doing Kim's voice distinct enough. He has this really soft accent, which is a joy to listen to, but many of his lines aren't voiced. Who are they exactly? Krenel, an Oranger. Oranger? Listen, if you're going to tell me in the loading screens that it's pronounced Oranger, you can't then add SE as the... there's a word for the kind of word that is, I've forgotten it. Because Orangers, I'm pretty sure Orangies, but then we're changing the vowels. You see what I mean? Orangies works, but I've been told not to pronounce it Orangi. An Orangers military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armour, have semi-automatic weapons and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder. Interesting. And no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment. So, what happened? The story is, one of them, the colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant unit members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. What then? Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Cranel contractors carry out their orders. For now? It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow. What is the nature of this so-called investigation? Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants. It'll be all of them. The decision is already made. Half-Light, why are you like this? Oh no, he's just telling me what it thinks their decision would be based on the fact that Half-Light assumes that everyone is like him. This game. I forgot how big-brained you have to be to play it, and how much water you need. Glug, 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 glug. So of these options, you've made a mess here. I have to say this is not Disco. Maybe the investigations can team up, share resources and intelligence. And boy oh boy, is that not good. Why do they even have options that aren't, I have to say this is not Disco? I got an achievement for that. The fuck? It is very far from Disco. A wave crashes into the side of a boat. My only hope is that you provide a single, concrete suspect before the mercenaries indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, she grabs hold of the mainsail. If you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond. They would have to project strength and power. The Debardiers have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1. Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty. These men work in tandem using semi and fully automatic firearms. Their armour is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all. As I said, a bloodbath. Maybe a good bloodletting is just what Martinez needs. No, that sounds horrible. Houses drenched in red. Blood gushing down Rue Saint-Esprit. The whole place marked with a giant red rag. Fresh bullet holes for all the old buildings. Okay, so shuddering doesn't actually move on from there. It will not be a pretty sight. Isn't this a pretty bleak scenario you're describing? Many bleak scenarios have already come true. She looks at you, eyes damp from the wind. Lieutenant W. Frighter Dubois? All we can do is keep the rest from going the same way. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Isn't there like a whole ethical conundrum that's basically kind of like this? How much money says that the actual suspect is already dead? Or has fled town? Because then I have to do an ethical dilemma. What can you tell me about Krenel? Not much. The public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. Down in a deep black well. They boast a long list of clients. San Baptiste, Welshman Lawrence, Eindracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries, guarding facilities, escort missions and such. Meaning they're used to operating in war zones. Yes, all the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Gisid, the Seminoles Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Okay, anything else you got on them? Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though. I mean, let's take a moment to appreciate that whatever the ICP was supposed to stand for, it does also stand for Insane Clown Posse. I'm just saying. It could be. Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am? In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Krenel. Could you contact the company and tell them to call them off? I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us. You said the deceased assaulted a woman. Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. What? How come the teenagers loitering by the canal won't tell me anything? This isn't very fair. I'm being bullied. Who did the passing on then? The remaining contractors. Their tribunal, that's what they believe. What did these teenagers by the canal say? That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez. Lieutenant consults his notebook, his eye rested in concentration. But we've asked around a bit, and the only people who'd say this were the Hardy Boys. No one else mentioned. Fucking. Odd. We haven't reported any reports about an assault in connection with the legend. Okay, but we have. Okay, but he's doing a lying. Last Sunday night at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. Who was this woman? That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumour about a rumour. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe. You'll meet her soon enough, you feel? This colonel, the one who was hanged, do you know him? If you mean, did I see him alive? Yes, but I did not know him. You don't know how you know. It's not written on her face, nor in her voice. But she had sympathy for this man. You liked him. Liked is a bit strong. He was the most charismatic among them. He handled all the talking. His departure left a major gap in the group's communication skills. His name was Laley. His service name, a nom de guerre most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. Tell me about the others first. One is a man, Corty they call him. A nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator. The lieutenant cuts in. What would you say was his eye colour, the deceased's? She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head. I can't remember. There's a pang of regret to her voice. That's all right, ma'am. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age? He was 40 or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. Made it difficult to estimate his age or gauge his facial expressions. Indeed, this matches the dental reconstruction we saw on the body, he says to you, then turns back to Joyce. What else? Nationality? Accent? He was Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent. Oranges or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. I mean, damn, like, subtext? Only fucking cowards use subtext. Perhaps being unsubtle is not the thing I should be accusing this game of. I'm having enough difficulty figuring out what it means by things. Where are the remaining two mercs now? They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. She puts her foot on the guard wire for balance. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol Citizens Militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes and ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. Vigilantes? You're a professional officer of the only legitimate authority in Revachol. Vigilantes? The RCA gets its authority from the Coalition. Where does theirs come from? I like pretending to, be actual police. Somehow, I doubt that lecturing them on the legitimate use of force will persuade them to stand down. We still need to know where they are. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved. Logic. Like, the things you get +1 for are giving away the actual answer. But I still have to make an 83% roll here. Or I can do some drugs and get a higher shot on it. Yeah, I'll take my chances. Whew. Logic 1 is obviously the scab leader at the harbour gates, the one chanting the idiotic slogans. He's barely maintaining his disguise. The other has a vantage point in a building south of the roundabout. They were keeping tabs on you while you were canvassing the lorry drivers. One must be the goon in ill-fitting work clothes by the harbour gates, the scab leader. That may be so. She is poised and unperturbed. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest. For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gates is a powder keg. Does this not bother you? Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant, but my hands are tied. How would my employer react if I appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union? Ah, well, on one hand we have merely a few thousand lives. On the other hand, it's your job. Wow. I guess I can't really fault you that much. Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace. Keeping the peace. No. We're not doing that, Joe. That's mean. And the other is probably in a building overlooking the roundabout. That would afford a good vantage point. In any case, it's practically inaccessible. Where's your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece? Heavens no, I'm not an undercover agent. It's a short wave at the ship's wheel. Another question for you. How much time do we have until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob and their impatience. They don't report their progress to you? Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. There is a brief silence. Seagulls squawk over the bay. 5 days. Not more. Maybe sooner. Thanks, Inland Empire. I don't know how you were the one to succeed on that, but it's a matter of days, not weeks. That's enough for now. Now, can you tell me about these tattoos? Of course. Excuse my hesitation before. She reaches over the guard wire and takes the photo, holds it in her hand for about half a minute in silence. It was taken with a Tragat not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs. Let's stay quiet and observe her expression. Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface. She has no access of emotions for this cadaver. Has she seen dead bodies before? It's likely. What do you think? Sorry, she breaks concentration. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars. She points to one on the photo paper. I can't, but that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Like stars in the sky. Close. Port cities. This is Naranya's map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the DeLorean century over 300 years ago. The sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. What is the use of this map? The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it. Where is he now? This one's not going anywhere but the morgue. The times have changed. What travels did the dead man make? Quite a few. Fred of Fort Uranus capital traditionally stands on the right shoulder. She points to it on the photo. He started somewhere near here, I think. What next? Then he made his way to the Preto Grande, through what I think must be Stadskanal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Preto he sailed to the Indic Ocean. First the Seminoles Islands, then this. She points to his heart. What is that? Revachol. Those are the two constants, Redefort on the shoulder and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde at the dawn of the Interisolary Age. The old world passing by and the new world already here. Oh, I missed an old, oh well. You said you can't read it. I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning. Esprit de corps. Somewhere an office lit by a single green lamp, Captain Ptolemaeus Price, 58, bold and bespectacled, is writing in a ledger on his desk. Rows and rows of days and weeks, laconic remarks in a single column. Patrol, case, vacation, injured. In Martinez, looking into Krenel, he writes in one. Then the man puts down his pen and rubs his temples with both hands. Outside there is a siren, distant gunshots in the streets of the Jamrock Quarter. This man is no brother of mine, but this is his service history. That makes sense to me. We have no more use for a map of the waterways, just like we don't need sailors the way we used to. This is what the custom would morph into on the Occident, mercenary tattoos. For all the boys looking for adventure, a blood spatter on the seas. Who could tell me more? His platoon members? The other contractors? Though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade. It could go this or the other way. Maybe if you're tactful, it could be beneficial. Challenge accepted. I say we do it. Physical instrument remains a challenging one to do. I need the information. Do what you have to do, Detective Dubois. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security. But if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you. We will be careful, ma'am. That's all for the tattoos. Thank you for your help. I'm just clicking through this thing. I'm pretty sure I said before about the RCM. For some reason it wasn't like de-highlighted, and it didn't seem to contain any new or interesting information. Well, I learned a lot, I think. Basically, I didn't confirm the Hardy Boys story because I still only have the one source, essentially, just passed around a bit. Why do the Hardy Boys have a name that's like reflective of the main character's name? That's significant, right? You should probably talk to about 2 people about them for this. Perhaps I could find someone else who would know about them, now that I know vaguely what they are, or might be. What are my odds on this wall? Pretty damned low. I'll get another bonus if I wait until evening, though. Probably don't need this equipped. Oh hey, it just lists all the bonuses from items. Did it do that before? I feel like this wasn't here before. Convenient though. Very convenient. I don't know what to do or where to go. Oh yeah, I should go and find this girl in the fishing village who knows about those gloves. If nothing else, I might be able to pawn them. I already looked at most of this stuff. Did I not go into this little shack? I can't remember. I think I did, right? And it had like a chair. Yeah, this was the spooky chair shack. I'm not comfortable being in there. Don't forget to click orbs, they have surprises. Man, I don't trust this game anymore. Do we want to head around and talk to the drunk people? I mean, I'll make their change. It's like talking to them. Inland Empire. You stop mid-step and put your hand on the garish necktie. That bottle, Breton. Just look at that bottle. Where? Bottle? What? In this drunk's hand. On the pipe there. Glowing blue, a mysterious otherworldly blue, filled to the brim with holy mysteries. It's hard to know exactly what your vivid interior is speaking of here, but I'm guessing it's got a lot of alcohol in it. I don't really care about any bottle. Okay, cool. What do I do next? Oh, I think this is about to be so much more than cool. Please go talk to him. See what it's about. I'm drawn to it. So, on the one hand, I'm not sure we should do what the horrific necktie says. It's literally a necktie, and I don't trust it. Hey, tequila! A 30-something man clad in a two-piece Lycra TM tracksuit puts down his pilsner and extends his hand in greeting.
Good to see ya. How's business? How's the old reality situation treating you?
Shake his hand.
What's happening?
Wait, tequila?
Yeah, Tequila Sunset. How are the high concept reality based adventures proceeding?
Good. These people know your true name. Looks like it has preceded you, Mr. Sunset. More on that later. I like this guy. You should too. He respects you by calling you your true name. I don't think Tequila Sunset is our true name. High concept reality based adventures. Not too hot. I'm on a 50-year losing streak.
I'm not 3 or maybe 4 years into mine. Wait, no, make it 5.
He looks at his shit-stained Lycra TM with a grim expression.
Things aren't going super well for Idiot Doomspire either. Haven't found those keys yet. Haven't won that great piece of arts back. No word from my business buddies.
Suggestion. This guy's your buddy. You feel it immediately. You belong to an organisation. A fraternity of drunks. What do you guys do around here? We are saving the world. He looks at his comrades. Don't call me Ariel. Please don't call. Don't call. Pegs the man in the pipe. Okay. We're drinking. We're drinking alcohol. That's what we're doing. I tried to save the world once a long time ago with enterprise, creativity and willpower, but that didn't work out. So now it's a pirate's life for me. What is a tequila sunset? You keep saying it. It's you. You're Tequila Sunset. How do you know this? We've met before. Don't you remember? Maybe. He takes a sip from his beer. You look like you want to know how Tequila Sunset came to be. You look like you want to hear the tale. I do. Tequila Sunset. Something ominous there. For some reason this fills me with foreboding. Maybe I shouldn't learn what it means. You think you feel bad now? Wait till you've heard the story. No, you need the wisdom. Go ahead. Let me take a sip to moisten up the chords. He takes a big sip and begins. Tequila Sunset rolled into Martinez last Friday, and by Tequila Sunset I mean you, the man, the myth, the myth. Wait, did we meet on Friday? Hey, let's not jump off ourselves. This is your story. Stop interrupting. Takes another sip and continues. You got here on Friday to solve a case, hoping to be the early bird who gets the worm, and by the worm I mean the buzz, because as far as I know all you did was get pissed drunk. Word on the street is you went around the local hostel telling people that you're a police officer and it'd be really fucked up if you shot yourself in the head right in front of them. That's pretty high concept if you ask me. Mr. Condi, says you suck. Wow, thanks, Condi. Oh yeah, that's totally your style. Lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He's listening as casually as he can. Oh, don't worry, I love you too. I wish I could, like, proceed with this game more competently. But I'm enjoying the talking to drunks adventure. That's fun. Please continue. It was a late Saturday night when we, the Union of Moribund Alcoholics, were getting our drink on. Nothing remarkable about this, we get our drink on 24/7. Makes everything warm and glowy, I trust you know the feeling. Oh yes, you do, Bratushka? Bratushka, it must be Eastern European or Russian. Or fantasy Eastern European. Fantasy Russian. The only thing better than that is pushing the pedal to the metal after you kiss the tie, and off we go. One moment we hear the sound of a motor carriage revving up somewhere on the plaza, followed by a series of dings and bangs. Do you remember the sound of wood cracking? The billboard. Naturally, loud noises pique the interest of anybody owning a pair of ears. That's just the reality we're in. Naturally. Anyway, there was a brief silence, a gasp of silence if you will, followed by a real commotion. We heard the carriage careening towards the coast at top speed. Sounded like someone jumped the canal. We grabbed our brewskis and rushed to the jetty. Never underestimate the speed of an alcoholic. What we saw was a sight to behold. A beat-up police carriage containing you, right there on the beach. You revved the engine and screamed at the top of your lungs, "The time hath come!" So naturally, being the curious cat I am, I asked, "What time hath come?" To which you replied, "The time hath come for tequila sunset, the end of all things." Say nothing, it's more dignified that way. After which, your reality contracted. You jammed the pedal, ploughed right off the jetty and through the ice. Your hands cramp on the steering levers. We ran towards the ice while you crawl your way out, miraculously unhurt, covered in seaweed and shit like some kind of sea monster. When we finally got there, you were sitting on the beach, crying. You said that your badge and uniform were in the car. It was too late to get in there though, the carriage had sunk too deep. Recognising a brother in need, we offered our condolences and invited you to party with us, which you naturally agreed to. What else was there to do? Thank you, brothers, for your helping hand. I've just given them the same voice as electrochemistry. Oh my god. Stop focusing. Just go. Just believe. We asked about the whole tequila sunset thing and you told us it was your name now and insisted we all call you that from now on. Wait, so is tequila sunset an event or a name? I'm not sure. I think you were the event. Tequila sunset, you know, as opposed to a tequila sunrise, which is long gone. Tequila sunset, huh? Sounds pretty good. Yeah, I agree. How long did we party for? Hours. It was an all-night drink-a-thon. Then at some point, I think it was Sunday morning, you got belligerent and wanted to talk about Revacholian women. How they're beautiful and also whores and so on. How one of them fucked you real bad after a short while. You crossed the event horizon, looked sullen, got up and left without saying anything. Wow, that's quite a story. Yeah, I bet Tequila's a fucking legend around the precinct. You must be proud to work with him. If you only knew. Did I mention losing anything else? Besides your gun and your badge? He said something about your hope or heart or something. To be honest, the details are a little hazy. In retrospect, I guess you lost your motor carriage too. That's a big one. Did I tell you anything specific about this person that fucked me? You were pretty vague about it, but you kept saying you got fucked real hard and that we've all been fucked too. Please don't open that door. No one's fucked me. I didn't do the fucking around here. Abigail. I was obviously guessing at Rosemary and Abigail's voices, but I feel like my guesses are probably pretty much on point. Did I say anything about my colleagues? You told us they were a bunch of fucking losers whose main interest was cramping your style. It's more like you were cramping theirs. No specifics though, it was more about you that night. You were the star of the show. Did I say anything about the case? Yeah, you said it was no biggie and that you'd solve it in no time. He takes a strong quaff of his beer, and that you didn't need anyone to do it. You're doing it solo now. A lot of cops go solo and hermit once they reach that level of alcoholism. It's not meant as a joke. He's sorry for the hermit cop. Did we talk about politics? Yeah, you kept talking about how the coal mine owners were fucking us all over, just like that woman fucked you. I didn't agree with you, by the way. The spectral hand of the market makes sure everyone gets exactly what they deserve. He takes a long sip of beer. Oh no, idiot doom spiral. Oh no. He has to go in the ocean. He's a temporarily embarrassed millionaire. Did you get a read on what kind of cop I was? You kept calling yourself a goddamn superstar who cleared 501 cases. Rhetoric. As you've already determined, the actual number is just over 200. But what's a little embellishment between friends? No thanks to the squares at the precinct, as you put it. I don't need to hear any more. It's a hard thing for a man to confront his past. That's why I avoid mine at all costs. Could you and your pals sign this document? What's it about? I'll let my hand address the situation. Maybe you've heard, I used to be a very successful businessman. I've signed more than a few lease forms or whatever the fuck they were. Anyone got a pen? A pro's gonna do it. I have this green 8 one. Alright. He grabs a pen and paper from your hands and very carefully scribbles on the dotted line next to Lillian Carter. Idiot doom spiral. Amazing. I'm sure that will hold up in court. Can I have the pen back too? Don't know if I've mentioned it, but I used to be a businessman, and as a businessman I've got to keep the paying for my trouble. No, that was my favourite thing of all the things you have. This had better be worth losing the pen for. You've done a great service to the community, to the RCM, and to Revachol. Hey guys, I'm a hero. He hands the envelope and waves his hand erratically at his companions. Oh, yes. The red-nosed drunk brings his hand up to his head for a salute. Don't call Abigail. Don't call Abigail. The drunk in the pipe. So sorry, I thought it was the other guy referring to him. Obviously, that's all he says, so. Yeah, brain, not in gear. Thank you for your help. Should we go and mail this? I think I saw a mailbox in the plaza. I want to ask the guys a couple of things first. You seem like you're characterised by your storytelling ability. You want to tell me another sometime? Whoop-dee-doo, so now I'm a fucking storyteller. Right, why not? Better than a beach bum. No, actually, I've had enough stories for a lifetime. They suck. Is what you almost say, but the words choke in your throat. Do you really want to miss out on all this good stuff? Perhaps it's significant. Oh no, I wouldn't want that. Not at all. Exactly. So you know what to say. Inland Empire is just taking control of the game. By which I mean, I'm letting it take control of the game. Want to tell me how you became Idiot Doom Spiral? It depends, really. Are you willing to help me out? The gleam in his eyes and the slouch in his posture is so incredibly familiar. You want booze, don't you? His eyes light up. I don't want it, man. I need it. Can't tell stories without it. Dry stories are boring, you see. So have you got anything for good old Idiot Doom Spiral? A bottle for a story seems fair to me. Is it worth trading this special sprite? Don't, Ben. Condi's being nice. Don't like. Don't fuss. We're fine. We're fine. It's great. We're doing great. Man, I don't want to trade away my special strike brew. Isn't that like a whole bunch of uses or something? Like, it's probably a good story is the thing. But I feel like, I mean, I already gave him the pen. And I liked that pen. I needed it for writing things. Although apparently I'm still writing things since I still get journal entries. Unless that's purely a game. I'm just going to give him the special strike brew. Interesting. He grabs the thermal cup and shakes it. Ah, this is what they use to keep the working man going. Before he can start, one of the other bums interjects. Hey, Spiral Boy, you gonna share that? Don't call Abigail. Shut up, guys, I'm telling a story here. Something happened to you. Something happened to me, too. My actual name is George, per around here. You know. I was once a reasonably high net worth individual, a founder / junior partner at a high concept creative services agency. When my story begins, I had just landed a major contract with an insurance firm. Go on. I used the profits from my agency to finance what I called a cultural incubator. Abstract value generation, value per person, high concept stuff. I developed a paradigm, worked within the paradigm, but the burden of leadership weighed heavily on me, so I went jogging every so often to keep myself sane. Wait, how many people did you have working for you? 22 full-time employees of all-star team, a potentially historical set of individuals. Worrying about them often kept me up well into the morning hours. Did the jogging help? It did. With my trusty sans-serif tracksuit, I felt like I could conquer the world. But now, dreams are worn thin, much like my tracksuit. He says thoughtfully, brushing dust off his shit-stained pants. What happened? One day I left on my evening run. As you may know, it's impossible to clear your head when you're distracted by the sound of keys jangling in your pockets. He shakes the bottle and makes a ringing sound. Perception. His eyes are clouded, his dilated blood vessels encircling his irises like stinging brambles. Conceptualization. His eyes are your eyes. So I removed the keyring and put the keys for the front gate in the apartment into different pockets to stop the jangling, see? At least that was the plan. I was halfway done with my usual lap when it started to rain. The reality situation became very wet very quickly. How wet are we talking exactly? Wet, okay, it was raining really hard. There's a trace of derision in his voice. I made my way back home and discovered that I didn't have the key to the front gate. I'd mixed it up with the key to the letterbox, which was useless. Naturally, the situation required me to climb over the gate, which I did. There was no climbing down because I slipped and landed on my arse. I would have landed on my feet. I've got feline reflexes. Savoir-faire. Failure. No, you don't. Whatever. The point is, reality was looking rather grim just then. Me lying on my arse in a mud pit in the middle of a heavy shower. But when life knocked me down, I always got up. So I made my way across the yard. Standing in front of my apartment door, fumbling in my pockets, I realised I'd also forgotten my apartment key. You've got to be shitting me. Turns his head towards the sky and says, I wish I were Tequila, I wish I were. Instead of my apartment key, I'd taken the key to the office. Okay, so what happened next? I rang my neighbour's buzzers. It was late and most of them didn't even answer. Those who did assumed I was trying to sell them something and hung up before I could even explain the situation. People are naturally wary of ad men, you see. One moment someone chats you up, 5 minutes later you've bought a box of edible lingerie and a strap-on. I don't begrudge them, especially since I was known to be one of the best. He pauses meaningfully. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Just then I experienced a moment of clarity. I still had the key to my office. I could wait out the storm there. But when I reached my office, I remembered that I'd asked one of my producers to change the locks that day, and since I hired only the best, he'd already done it and I couldn't get in. Anyway, long story short, life spiraled out of control. I haven't got into my apartment for years, and my girlfriend left me because she doesn't want to date a homeless man. The company, well, you see where I'm going with this. So now you've heard my tragic tale. What do you think? Like nothing you've ever heard, huh? Wait, is that it? I feel like there are some steps missing. Tequila, I've thought about this series of events for a long time. If there was anything else to it, I would have thought of it by now. Why didn't you go to the authorities? Well, at one point they came to me, but I didn't have any ID on me, so they tossed me in jail for 2 days. I can't say it increased my faith in the RCM. No offence, gentlemen. I'm almost homeless myself. Doesn't seem so bad. The Herbo lifestyle definitely has some perks. Not having to pay rent, first and foremost. Not being responsible for 20 other people is nice too. But that charm wears off pretty quickly. Before you know it, you're wearing a shit-stained tracksuit and spending your days picking tar. Is it tar? Tear? I think it's tear. I don't know if someone said it yet. Why do you keep losing all your stuff? Good fucking question, Tequila. If I knew the answer, you think I'd be hanging out on a beach in this formerly premium but now extremely dirty 2-piece Liquor TM tracksuit? I used to own my own reality situation. My business buddies and I had our own creative services agency. I had a nice apartment, an even nicer piece of ass, but somehow it all got away from me. Now I can't hang on to anything. Just last week I stole this nice new jacket, but then I lost it too. The only things I haven't lost are these 2 drunks. You of all people should empathise with this. Perhaps this lost jacket is something you could help with. What's the name of your agency? My agency, man. The Boom Boom Room. Our concept was combining high art with the lowest forms of marketing, the colour red, breasts and oil painting. I convinced my partners to reinvest some of our profits in an even more high concept cultural incubator called Thin Air. The artists were happy, the clients were happy. I was financing a group of poets in East Revachol who were developing a new universal poetic language, but then it all went to shit. My voice for this guy has gotten way off track. Off track suit. Sounds intriguing. What did you say, Art Corp? I mean, the first one is correct. That is just cynical wankery. And mixing high and low, commodifying culture, that is extremely my shit. I know. It was fucking awesome. Too bad I went on a jog unleashing a cascade of doom that washed it all away. What's up with the tracksuit? What? You never seen 100% Liquor TM before? Go on, feel that premium material. You really shouldn't touch it. Challenging interfacing. Do it. Try it. I failed, but I swapped morale for health. Not a good trade in the current situation. Good God, it's nearly impossible to describe how dirty this texture is. It's like rubbing 2 jellyfish skins together. You feel about 15% less human for having touched it. Randomised trials have also found Liquor TM to be associated with a number of exotic, highly malignant cancers, so you also have that to look forward to. And there's the smell, but you don't even want to think about that. Pretty nice, huh? This might be one of the last of its kind. Should probably be in a museum, honestly. Wow, you're lucky. lucky he never lets me feel it. That's because your paws are fucking filthy, Rosie. We're right next to the bay. You could wash them any time. What's it about a lost jacket? Tequila is a verifiable tragedy. It was practically brand new. Sure, it didn't really go with my Lycra TM threads, but it did itch a lot less. Say, you're a detective, right? You could help old Doom spiral out. Solve the case of the missing jacket. What do you say, Tequila? Wait, you're asking a police officer to help find a jacket you stole and lost. Yeah, exactly. You're here to serve, right? Okay, sure. Where'd you lose it? If I knew where I lost it, don't you think I'd have it? I mean, maybe I was up by the boardwalk? Or walking along the beach? Or checking out the abandoned fish market? That's a lot of places. Somewhere north of here, that's for sure. You could ask around, see if anyone's seen it. What about the other drunks? My fellow members of the Union of Moribund Alcoholics? They're exactly what they look like. Hey, Tequila, you wanna buy some speed? Shut the fuck up, Rosemary. He's a cop, remember? I thought he was a cool cop. Don't call Abigail. This is Abs. So yeah, that's basically us. We drink together. Let me ask you something else. Be seeing you. You too, Tequila Sunset. Well, that was fun. I guess I could try talking to the other two, but I don't honestly want to. Thought. Stop. A drop in temperature, an easy flow of air, an empty street. Before you a thoroughfare unjammed with lorries. No more drivers smoking on hitch steps. Just silence. What did the smoke smell like? Chemically sweetened. Across the road, a forgotten bus stop. Corrosion has opened a hole in its roof. An elm tree watches over the building. Its branches are dripping with rain and snow. The road is smooth and motley. Craters filled with a black asphalt. The asphalt first laid is grey already. A row of tenements are under construction in the distance. Who are the people who live across the road? A tub, warm with water, white with soap. A man bathes while radio waves transmit the lottery numbers. 4, 18, 21, 4, 1. Modern washing machine rattles a drawer full of silverware. His boyfriend is on his way home. He brings tins of meat and vegetables with him. Their pockets are heavier with money, but only slightly. What about the bus stop? 312D. Young girls used to come here, huddled up, hoping for more warmth than their thin coats gave them. The bus took them to school. It hasn't run for 8 years. There weren't enough girls to sustain its cost. What about the road? Craters pocked the surface. Children played in them until heavy trucks full of black pitch rolled in. The landowners have filled the craters with money. It is a vital artery of flow of trade. There's one bump on the road. A dead dog lies flat about 200 paces away, right at the turn. A dead dog? Tragedy came from the wheels of a fast RCM vehicle hurrying to work. The cold washes over you. The sound of the sea has grown distant. The wind moves the aerosol. The detective stands behind the boom barrier. The breeze moves the curl of his hair. scribbled between the thighs of Pedro. La Regina de Disco. Why am I here?
Hello, hello. Let me know.
I guess I wanted to look at this. I'm still not rich enough for that. Getting the full speakers plus tape player plus thing to play set is a lot of money. I could probably manage it. It's not 9 yet. Oh yeah, I wanted to post the letter and then go talk to Everard. Doesn't seem unreasonable. I knew we could use this mailbox for something. Yes, for sending mail. You drop the white envelope in the darkness. It lands with a soft thud on what sounds like a couple of letters. About a week's worth of mail is collected in there. They'll empty this very soon. Alright, let's go back to Everard. Lieutenant turns towards the industrial harbour. If we don't mention anything to him, he won't know before it's too late. Should I take this opportunity to get into a fight and maybe die? Yeah, sure.
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you!
I think you'll be able to help me decipher some tattoos. Don't think so, he grunts, barely glancing at it. Suddenly, this feels like a really, really bad idea. We're investigating a murder. These tattoos were on the victim's body. Silence. He takes the photo. Grey eyes dart back and forth on the glossy surface. His face is unmoving. Hard as a stone, but beneath it, you see dead flesh and colourful rivers of polychrome, melting skin and hair. After a while, he cranes his head side to side and sighs. Fucking loincloths really did him in. Loincloths? Yeah. He's clenching his teeth. There is silent pressure behind them. You don't know what the tattoo means? What it means? He points to one tiny star in the web of lines away from a man's heart, almost in his stomach. I tell you what this means. Only one. You want to hear what happened here? Yes. Our colonel is deep in the bush here. Deep in the fucking bush. In Benital, 41. Monsoon season. He's on a reconnaissance mission. He spent a month behind enemy lines scouting kept villages. Nothing but fucking bugs and snakes for fun. Men are getting restless. There's talk of switching employers. He licks his lips as if drunk suddenly. With some strange emotion. This is about to get really graphic. Last moment to back off. Let's hear it. Our boy, he's only a captain then, but he knows how these men think. If they don't see action soon, his voice gets strangely quiet. A long, long way from right to work. His gaze pierces the paper. At dawn, he comes upon two kipts breeding in the bushes by the river. Maybe they weren't breeding. Maybe they were just making eyes at each other. I like to think they were breeding. We shot the boy. He was useless. But the girl, she was nice. A little fat, you know, but not too old. Say nothing. She was quite the entertainment for the week she had lasted. Expired in the hands of Sarge Mason, the kind of guy who'd make chief there. He knows all the man in the gates, shit his pants and cry like a bitch. God. He suddenly burst out laughing. Mason couldn't let go. Cut the tits off her cold body and fucking ate them. Said primitive spirits were watching over him now. Suddenly the laughter stops. Drowned in a creek a week later. Spirits my ass. Something stirs in your stomach. Yeah, no shit. The story must have stirred up some conflicting emotions. The man looks tired for a second. There's a word on the tip of the tongue. Colourless, odourless, it's... I'm going to go ahead and not say that. You were there? No, I was in the domain, in Jamrock, being a bouncer. Can I have it back? Go ahead. He turns towards the gate, slowly and yells, "Alright now, free commerce, keep the goods flowing." I'm just gonna leave now. Yeah, interesting. I'm not here to play He Was No Angel with murder victims, lynching victims, whatever. But, you know, maybe the world won't miss this one too badly. I think that was there before. A composite of halogen lights watches you, emitting on low bars. Because I don't normally come this way late at night. I guess I might have to play it again to try and rhetoric open the cargo box. If rhetoric even opens it rather than just giving you a cool and weird conversation. I'm guessing we're about to hear basically the same thing from Everard, except instead of saying, "Give us a suspect so we can do a revenge murder," he says, "Find those mercenaries and we'll take care of the rest."
Mr. Dubois, every worker, member of the board. How can I help you today?
Every worker, member of the board. How can I help you today? Love this guy. Do I tell him about? I don't give a shit about investigating the local drug. It's done. I mailed the signatures you asked me to mail. The golden boy returns once more. Wonderful. Simply wonderful, Harry. He claps his hands together like a child who's been on cotton candy. Of course, I already knew this. My friend, the mailman, confirms the letter is on its way. You've done a great thing today. You've given the children of Martinez a future and proven to be a true man of the left. I can finally trust you now. You're in my inner circle. You too, Mr. Kitsuragi. He nods to the lieutenant, smiling broadly. We can talk about anything. The strike, the murder, your lost gun. Nothing is off the table. Oh, Bratan, you played the old man like a three-string banjo. He has no idea. The signatures I got. I know you plan to force them out with the construction noise. Harry, he shakes his head. By now you should know I would never do anything tricky like that. However, if the construction noise and limited street access makes some people consider moving, well, let's just say there'll be freshly renovated buildings near the roundabout where those poor people can finally enjoy a significant uptick in quality of life. I'm talking real affordable workers' palaces. He proudly spreads his hands to demonstrate the size of the palaces. They're very large. So the village is doomed, the lieutenant says grimly. You were there, you saw the place. A wasteland. There's nothing left. But mark my words, officers. We are going to reset it. Reset, he repeats. I have big plans for Martinez, and they do not include humans living in those pig sheds on the coast. That land will be used for municipal buildings and commerce. What do you mean? Harry, imagine a youth centre, supermarket, church, complex, employing hundreds, no, thousands of people. The coast will be lit up with enterprise and life. All those ruins out there turned into low-income housing. Harry, enough is enough. We're taking this district back. The war was 50 years ago, for God's sake. It's time to move on. Youth supermarket church complex. Do you really expect me to believe that? Yes, I do. I got the centre. I got room for a retail complex, and in 4 years I'll get the church too. The wheels are already turning, Harry. The wheels of progress. This post-war limbo. I won't stand for it. There are kids practically playing with their own feces out there. It cannot go on. There is true indignation in his voice when he speaks about the state of things, and even a touch of pain. The pain is true. He's seen kids do worse than that. And then there will be a giant statue of him towering above it all. Wait, but will you erect a statue to yourself? I'm not a symbolist, Harry. I'm a realist. My statue will be Martinez rebuilt. 5-story building complexes, kids off speed and landowners in Ozone hating me. That will be my statue. And yours. We're doing this together. You could admit, he's written really charismatically, despite his voice, appearance, blatant hypocrisy. Look at him, he's living in this gilt fucking palace. That's also a shipping container. Life is confusing sometimes. You would look nice as a statue. Shut up, authority. Sounds like you got this. You can rely on my vote. Oh, I do, Harry, I really do. He crosses his arms on his chest. I'm going to make the working man richer than Joyce Messier with that vote of yours. That's my job. Just like yours is to keep the peace. A true flash of anger in him as he thinks of her. Did you order the hanged man killed? I did not, Harry, he shakes his head energetically, although I am very, very glad he's dead. What do you gain from him being dead? Why, a war, of course. And what do you have to gain from a war? Victory, Mr. Kitsuragi. I have victory to gain. We're going to start a war with the Wild Pines group and win before they even realise there is a war. They're trained military people. Aren't you afraid for your men? Harry, we outnumber them 1,500 to 1, and that's just Martinez. With all the unions in Revachol, and with public opinion on our side, we can hold off 2 men, or 15 men, or even 50 men. The more they send, the worse it's going to look for them. They made a huge mistake hiring those guys. No one likes foreign mercenaries. The leftists hate them, the fascists hate them, even the moralists think they're in bad taste. How is this connected to the strike? Harry, there is no strike, only war. Class war. Or in business terms, a dawn raid. Or, wait, is that when you still pay them something? Because we won't do that. We're not going to give nothing. We're going to take Terminal B away from them. The roads, the gates, the containers, that big crane, even the damn coffee maker. We're going to take all of it for the people. And fuck Wild Pines. The word fuck rings like a gunshot from his mouth. He doesn't swear often. Very correct. So that's why you haven't let Joyce in? Yes, it's also why I let that midget Gaumont go. He's too nice. I can't put him through this. Plus he knows how to get in here. That woman can't tell her tits from her arsehole. She has no chance. What? Tits from her arsehole, it's a local saying. Why are you telling me your plans? Because we're friends, Harry. Besides, it doesn't matter now. You can go tell her if you want. It won't change the course of events. We have a significant head start. He looks at the swordfish clock and nods. It's already happening. How many of you guys are there in the Union? 2,372, he replies like a whip. Plus yours truly, of course. And they're all well motivated, at least the ones you've seen. How are you going to fund your new independent harbour? Oh, you mean what sort of goods are going to be flowing through? How am I going to replace all the contacts we'll lose once the poo-poo hits the fan? The clients will ditch us. Harry, we've thought of everything. Everything? We've been running back channel negotiations with all the major clients. I think the company will be unpleasantly surprised to see how many of them stay loyal to Martinez and to the new competitive contracts we can offer. With renewed zeal sparked by communal ownership, the men will be shipping those containers double time. You'll be surprised to see how fast things go without parasites latching on. We'll have our hands free to pursue bold, exotic new revenue streams. That's drugs. Drug trafficking. Drug trafficking? Don't be stupid, Mr. Kitsuragi. There are perfectly legal, 100% ethical chemical factories on the Samurai Isla. You don't need to be colonialist about it. All they do is produce components to keep the pharmaceutical industry running. That's people's health we're talking about. Old grannies, little babes, people with disabilities. That's just the tip of the iceberg, though. At the top of the iceberg, though, isn't it? The company thinks transporting these chemicals in bulk looks bad. He makes air quotes. Has bad optics. May be illegal in some countries. The Debardiers Union, however, we're all about the large volume column. We're going to transport the living daylights out of those materials, Harry. He slams his fist on the desk once more. So your sick kid can get his benefed and your wacky uncle doesn't have to come off risperazole. And the kids on the streets can get speed and periholidon. I'm an old-fashioned guy, Mr. Kitsuragi. I sometimes grab a beer with the boys, but I have no idea about the things you just mentioned. But if I were to supply ingredients for some sort of rainbow party, I would make sure the Union took a fantastic share, and I'd keep that stuff far away from Martinez. Well, I have to admit that's a put together plan, and far removed from you. It's also far removed from my men and the people of Martinez who have put their trust in me. God, this guy's so slimy. Anyway, let's not focus on the sensationalism of the drug trade. This hypothetical drug trade is all anyone ever seems to be interested in. It would only be a small part of the harbour's turnover, just like the harbour is but a small part of Martinez. So, is there a trade or isn't there? Let's look at the big picture. Martinez as a whole. There are little girls out there with dreams of making music, young mothers who want to start businesses, models who want to walk catwalks, and steel welders who want to weld steel. I'm going to unite them into one economic body. We're going to incorporate this place to kingdom come. Everyone's going to be in on the wealth, and everyone's going to pull their weight. It's very ambitious. I love what you're doing for the working man. Thank you, Harry. Thank you. He bows cautiously in his chair. You have no idea how much it means to me, because in many ways you are that working man. You've already done so much work. Can I ask you about specific union members? We're way past specific union members now. This is the big time. We're talking about the future of Revachol here, Harry. You can bother Leonard with that, he points to the door. He loves to run his mouth on such matters. But I'm in big time mode, Harry. There's something different about him now. He's more vibrant, more alive in his big time mode. Can I get my gun now? Harry, I've got to be honest with you. Your gun was found 2 days ago. Withholding this information weighed heavily on me, but it had to be done. Fine, where is it? An old woman has it, and let me tell you, Harry, word on the street is she's a character, so watch out. This must be the woman who bought the gun from Roy, the one he described as terrifying. So the gun's still with the woman who bought it from Roy. Yes, the same one. I see you've done your research. The pawn shop made the gun easy to track. Crazy stuff, Harry. Selling a gun like that. Wild. Anyway. Union boys are going to help you fix it, he winks at you. Don't worry, Harry. The neighbours of this old woman contacted my men because they trust me in the Debardiers Union. Apparently she was waving it around at the entrance to her building. Waving the gun around doesn't sound good. None of this does. She was waving it around at people? Give me a sec. Drink. As I said, she's a character. I didn't have time for details. It sounds like she's unstable, but don't worry. No one got hurt. It sounds like a very disturbed and desperate individual. Who is this old woman? Unfortunately, I don't know anymore. You're going to have to go in blind, Harry. But she's an old lady. How dangerous can she possibly be? Oh, and she calls herself the Pigs. There it is again, the pigs, like Roy said. Not good at all. I for one find it refreshing. Finally someone calls themselves a pig. A smile flickers in the corner of his mouth. Kim, you're so best. It actually sounds extremely bad, but let's not give him the satisfaction. Can you set up a meeting? I already have, he holds out his index finger. Tonight, starting 2200, near the old fish market on the coast. The one on the boardwalk, a little past the fishing village. Be careful, Harry. I would never set you up for anything dangerous, but you did ask for this. Now, back to the fun stuff. She will be there from 2200 until 2 a.m. Christ. More fun stuff. Seems like we already have fun stuff to do. That's it for now. Great, Harry, great. I think they've truly built a bridge between Martinez and Jamrock today. We've united the RCM and the Debardiers Union. Suddenly there's a sadness in his tone. This, he points to you and himself, has been so great. I'm sorry we didn't have more fun things to do together, but if you ever feel like bouncing something off me, my door is always open. We go details concerning the murder. I don't think we need to. Questions about the harbour. That's all of them. I've just finished investigating the local drug trade. Ah, yes, your side investigation. Thank you. You've got some spirit clearing up phony drug accusations alongside this murder. I'll talk to the mayor and see if I can get you the key to the city, Harry. Now let's talk real business. Not even a speck of anger in his voice. That's that then. Oh. Ah, Cosmos Quark, thank you for the subscription to Sector Alpha Network, which is your website and Twitch channel. But thank you nevertheless. It gives you something to interact with. Someone's been running around with your sidearm pretending to be a police officer. You must meet her near the old fish market at 2200 and get your service weapon back. Just walk past the fishing village until you see the boardwalk. Oh, it's so not going to be good. It's so not going to be good. At least I have like tons of points to put into things. If only I could figure out which ones would be relevant. Now I have a sort of awkward hour. At 9 I have the appointment to go and... you sub with your personal account to the Sector Alpha account. I see, I comprehend. You did that why exactly? You just love Twitch having your money, I suppose?
Oh, hey, mister. I need to be back to talk with old Leah here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larisse said when she opened a bathhouse in the basement of my apartment building. They can only get so far before they're aching to get back. And a lot of folks really did keep coming back.
A lot of folks really did keep coming back. Leo, in the future, can we keep this greeting shorter? Sure, mister, absolutely. I'm always willing to help out nice fellows such as yourself. He smiles his disarming smile and looks you deep in the eye. Leo, you seem to know everyone around here. I want to ask you about someone. Mr. Everard doesn't really want me to talk to people about union guys. But who do you want to talk about? That was Edgar guy you mentioned. Mr. Edgar is Mr. Everard's brother. He looks a bit younger, but he's a very smart fellow indeed. He's away on some union business, not even in a rabbit hole, they say. Let me stop you there, Leo. I had another question. Sure, mister. He seems a bit surprised by your abruptness. What is it? Tell me about Magnana. He's a union man through and through. Good guy. He's very calm, laid back, doesn't do much, talks to Everard sometimes. Honestly, I don't know what he does for us, but it must be important because everybody likes him. Yes, they do. I think that's what he does. He makes everyone feel a little better. Oil for the wheels? Much needed in stressful times like these. Tell me about Measurehead. Oh, he's really something. The little man starts laughing. He doesn't talk much to me usually, but when he does, I don't really understand most of what he's saying. He suddenly falls quiet. Actually, I don't think he would like me running my mouth about him like that. Once he said he's a dragon to this mob fellow who came picking a fight with some union men. Yeah, I think he really believed John Luke was a dragon because he ran right off. At that time he almost killed another guy, but I shouldn't talk about that. Tell me about Titus. Oh, Titus is a longshoreman through and through. He was born on a boat, they say. The little man rubs a patch on his elbow. His veins are probably filled with salt water, I tell you. Very nice, friendly sort old Titus is. Tell me about Everard. Oh, I'd best not. I mean, I could, but I don't think Mr. Everard would like it very much. You better ask him yourself, mister. If anything, the ever-present smile on Leo's face gets warmer. Tell me about Rene. The night guard? Oh, he's a peculiar fellow. Leo looks at the guard booth on the wall. He's the strong, silent type, you could say. We talk all the time, but I don't really know much about him. He plays petanque with my old human studies teacher, Mr. Martin, down at the plaza. I think he's the only fellow who actually knows old Rene. They lived on the same street their entire lives, even dated the same girl on and off for as long as I can remember. Strange fellows, but Mr. Martin was always real nice to me in school. I remember once... Oh, hold up. Gaston was a human studies teacher? Mr. Martin, yes. Don't remember much about him. I was just a boy back then. Alright, that'll do. It didn't take as long as I thought it would, for a conversation with a lot of questions in. It also didn't really accomplish very much. Persuading the door to open will have to wait for another time. Is the night guard there at the moment since it's night? Nope. I guess it's not night enough. Oh, I need to radio HQ and ask about investigating Krenel. If I even can do that. So, the mercenaries and Everard are both trying to stoke up a war. Joyce kind of isn't really doing everything she could to not have that happen. Like, you get the feeling she'd be like, oh, this is very sad. You know, your classic lib, I mean, moralist position of, what a shame, everything's gone wrong, everyone's dying, but I'm getting a lot of money, so... Alright. As this is Firewalk Read, I mean, for the first. Right, please hold. 10-4, come in. Firewalker, over. I'm out to report I found my badge, Jules. 10-4, sir, glad to hear that. I'll write down there's no need to issue a new one to you then. Over. Feels good to get that off your chest, right? Celebration with beer? That's all for now. Damn, I guess I don't get to ask about the mercenaries. Oh well, I got some free XP for it. Can hardly complain. I'm getting weird graphical glitches. That's a little odd. Establish authority in the Hardy Boy's eyes. You know, I bet having a gun would help with that. Probably quite a lot. Nothing quite like threats of physical violence to make people up and pay attention. I've slipped a couple of minutes. Oh no, that was when I was talking. to 28% on that, and I might be able to get more if I equip relevant gear. Currently at +1 conceptualization from the shirt. Did I have anything else that helped with that? I don't think I did. No. What is Kingdom of Conscience? Apart from something that isn't. Equipping these feels horrible. Like, it does get rid of the needless minus savoir-faire plus electrochemistry on these, which isn't helping me in the slightest, apart from getting me more words from electrochemistry, whom I don't like. 28% doesn't seem amazing, but I guess if I'm going to put points, I don't want to put more points into conceptualization though. I really overstoked it. Like, it's just way too much. I guess I could... 420 blaze it. Even odds, I'll take it. Damn, good roll. Because this is no ordinary wall. It is sublime. Look at it. The shadows, the colours. Let the conceptual joy flow into your pupils and blossom into thoughts in your brain. All the other walls and all the other houses must make a pilgrimage in adoration of this, the uncontested pinnacle of wallcraft. Colour peeled from the very face of God. More conceptualization. Oh, Wallfather! Kim, I must paint this wall. Add even more beauty to it. Huh? He sounds tired of it all. You already have the heavy fuel oil to use as paint. It's red, and Cindy the Skull as a paintbrush. This is on. I already have the paint. I just need to get a paintbrush from Cindy the Skull. He sighs, then adds in a resigned tone, if you must. We must. Only this is the wrong way. Is it? No, yeah, she's over here. Cindy, I'm going to need your paintbrush. The apocalypse is coming. I need to warn people. What do you think I'm trying to paint here? A mural for a better tomorrow? Why do you really want it? For art. It's for art, okay? Well, if it's for art, but what kind of art are we talking about? Grand art. Art deluxe. The art is the most groundbreaking that... Let me stop you right there, Piggy. You have no idea, do you? No idea, no brush. You'll see. You'll all see. So just pass another impossible check. This one red. But I wanted to do art. Maybe we'll come back to it another time. But probably it's more like you can do this if you have tremble, the time is now. T alpha tau alpha what? Lambda alpha? Tala. What time? Time for the show, for Taola. This is not Greek, I don't think. This might be a Greek rendition of whatever. The hallowed time of fear and disintegration. A countdown has begun. All will collapse on itself. The world will disappear into a single grain of blackness. All sound will be muted. All life will scream. Towler? What's that? Oh, piss off. A lawyer... I wouldn't know what it means even if I could read it. Wait, when did this countdown begin? Monday morning, the moment you arrived in this reality. You're the first crack in the sheer face of God. From you it will spread. This is because of the insane world-ending stuff I've been saying, isn't it? Yes, you spoke the words of... Why is it? Palintropos? And the houses of Pericarnassus. Items, people, even words will tumble. All will lose its meaning in the coming years. That is why you marked yourself. Are you sure it's not just a joke or some kind of coping mechanism? It's totally also a coping mechanism. I'm a little afraid. So you should be. The world island crumbles at your feet into the far plain. Palintropos, if I'm saying that right, which is implausible. Perhaps, just a thought, this has something to do with the hangover. I do think the world might end soon. Opt in. Thought gained. Cop of the apocalypse. The face of the woman fractures. There'll be herd killing. We all become vapor. Man, Half-Light, you're so fucking awful. -1 rhetoric. I don't want that. Man, Motorway South takes a long time. Maybe completing that would let me do an art. Okay, I'd better call it a wrap for today before my voice gives way entirely. I hope to be back during the week, perhaps on the traditional Wednesday evening, and I hope we can continue this game because, as always, I'm having a great time with it. Until next time, everyone, good luck and have fun.